I really like to play with various stuff, and one of the things that I really like is 3D printing. But I never ever tried to print anything with the resin printer. Until now. Thanks to this video, I was able to test and print and start to love resin printing. Today we will be looking at Halot-One Plus printer. We will be also looking at how good it is to print whatever figurines, models, etc. you want, but also print stuff that you can later on use in your DIY projects. So stick around to see if resin printers are any good in printing something else than the figurines and stuff like that. Let's start with the full disclosure. I did receive free of charge this 3D resin printer, curing and washing station, and also 1 liter of resin, free of charge as I mentioned, from Creality in order to create video on it. And I would lie if I wouldn't say that I had so much fun with it. If you go for a standard standalone Halot-One Plus printer, it will offset you currently 476 euros and 10 euro cents. And you do get 2 half-a-liter bottles of resin. When I was testing printing, I was actually using only Creality resin, and I wish I had time to buy some other resin to get it shipped to me, because currently finding local resin on the market was not that easy, and to test other types of resin. For example, one type of the resin I wanted to test, although I really have no use for it, and that is the one that is used at the dentist's office. Yes, those resin printers can actually be used for something else than play. If you, on the other hand, decide to go for a kit or combo, there are 2 of them. One is this one here, where you get 2 kilos of resin or 2 liters of the resin, actually I think it's 2 kilos of resin, for 529 euros. And this, as I mentioned, the one that I got, that costs 799 euros. That includes both this resin printer, Halot-One Plus, but also UW02 washing and curing station. When I was preparing for this video and I was waiting for the arrival of the printer, I actually didn't know what will be included. I thought that they would only send me this printer. So I was thinking on what I need to do to wash and cure the prints, because this is something that you have to think of with the resin printers. If you do FDM printing, you just put the spool in the printer and get the end result. With the resin prints, you actually have multiple steps. Same thing as with normal printing, you do the slicing, you start printing, or add liquid, in this case resin, start printing, and when the print is done, well, actually you are probably halfway through the process. Not in terms of time, but in terms of effort. You have to peel off the print from the build plate, which sometimes was harder than I thought. If you have issues with prints sticking in the FDM printer, here you will have issues with getting your prints off of the build plate. And that is really awesome. Except in one case, and that one case was actually on my first stream, and on that stream we did unboxing, so there will be no unboxing in this video. And on that unboxing, what I did, I just put the build plate, I didn't clean it, we started printing and the print failed off. After the stream, I cleaned everything up. I used isopropyl alcohol to clean the build surface. I scraped it a bit with a spatula that is included, and there are 2 spatulas there. The plastic one, which is used to scrape the extra resin you have in your vat, and the metal one, which is really awesome. That one is used to get your prints off the build plate. So after I cleaned it, started the prints would just stick, and it was really hard for me to get them off the build plate. But as I said, after you get them off, then you have to remove the supports or wash and remove the support. It's all up to you. This UW02 curing washing station is really awesome. The tank can be used to clean the prints while they are still on the build plate, or after you remove them from build plate. As I said, this was my first time interacting with the resin printer, and I did learn a lot in the first 24 hours. For example, if you want to clean the vat, if you want to pour the rest of the liquid back into the bottle, don't do it outside while it's a sunny day. Yeah, that resin on the sun can really cure fast, and that's what happened to me. This printer is now almost 1 year old. There are a lot of reviews on that printer. And when I said I want to test the printer, I really wanted to test it 2 ways. We will see all the test prints I did in a couple of minutes. I did want to test with the standard prints that people usually do with resin printers, and that's the figurines, of course, Mandalorian, Star Wars, all the fun stuff that some or most of you will like. But I also wanted to see if, for example, some of the cases that I use for my ESP32, ESP8266 projects, or ready-made boards that I buy around, can be printed out of resin, if they are good enough, if they are sturdy enough, and best of all, if they are, for example, more splash-proof than the PLA or ABS cases that I've been using recently. And wow, those prints just wow. But it comes with a price. For me, the biggest issue with resin printers, and if Creality allows me, I will definitely keep this one here, is smell or fumes from the resin printers. This printer does have a filter, but it simply cannot filter all the stuff that gets in the air. So what I ended up doing is I confiscated one of the toilets near the apartment exit or door. I opened the door and printed there. That got rid of the smell, but unfortunately, yeah, I cannot use that space all the time just for my resin printer. Once again, this is nothing related to Creality. It goes with most of the resin printers. It all depends on the quality of the filtration unit inside the printer itself, and it also depends on the type of the resin used. There are some odorless resins, but unfortunately I myself haven't tried them, so I cannot tell you if they work. Let's talk about some differences between this and some other resin printers. For example, one of the benefits of this printer is the Wi-Fi connectivity. Unfortunately, this printer does not have Ethernet connection, but it does have a Wi-Fi connection. That means that you can use mobile app or your PC to set prints from. But that also means that you can monitor what's printing. One thing I didn't try, and I have to try that, is to attach the webcam. According to whatever documentation I have read, it does support it, but you do lose the ability to connect the USB drive, and I did mostly use USB stick to transfer prints between the computer and the printer itself. If you do not need it, then you could use that port to connect the USB camera and monitor the prints. The other advantage that Creality has is something that they created some time ago, and that's a Creality Cloud service. Okay, a lot of people, a lot of different opinions on that. I think that the idea is good, but there are still some problems. The problem is that people are using the cloud services. And what people do is people steal somebody else's project and then they submit it as their own on a Creality website. And it takes a lot of effort, both from the community and from the Creality, to clean up and remove the models that people were not supposed to submit on a Creality website. But the idea is really awesome. What you could potentially do is following. If you are logged in into the website, you can, for example, find a print that you love. Let's say that this is this one here. You can download it or you can batch slice it. These are some of the models that are included. You can untick what you do not want to slice. And for example, slice just this one here. Click slice. And you have online slicer. You can create your own profile, import profile, play with the settings, and when you are satisfied with how everything looks, click on slice. The model will now be sliced and ready to print or download. Yes, print. Actually, you can just click here and send that print to your printer. Of course, your printer has to be turned on. You have to have resin inside the printer, but you can actually control and print stuff from wherever you are, which is a plus. And the same thing that you can do here, you can actually do from the mobile app. One additional thing, of course, is that you can also do over-the-air updates. You can do it via the Creality Cloud app, or you can do it on the printer itself. That means that you have to connect your printer to your Wi-Fi network. But what about all you that are worried about privacy? No, you don't need to. If you do not want, you don't need to connect your resin printer to the Wi-Fi network. You can use it as a standard printer, either by connecting it via USB cable to your computer or by using USB stick and transferring your models to the printer via the USB stick. I will be leaving all the links down in the video description. And those links are a link to the Creality Halot-One Plus webpage, to the shop where you can buy that printer, to the Creality Cloud service, and of course to all the models, if I don't forget it, that I've printed for the purpose of this video. If I do forget a model or two, please just leave a comment down in the comment section below and I will do my best to mitigate that and leave a link to author and the web page I got it from. Let's talk about slicers. You have a couple of options here. As I mentioned many times, I've never ever used resin printer before, so this was my first time with any of those slicers. Lychee Slicer and Chitubox are de facto standards, but Creality has released its own slicing software called Halot-Box. If you want to go with the Chitubox, you can download the basic version, but basic version is also partially limited. So if you are serious into resin printing, you may consider buying Chitubox Pro. Same goes with the Lychee Slicer. There is a free version and the Pro or professional version. And while most of the functionality is available, there are some things that are not available or partially available. But I decided to go with the Halot-Box. If I'm printing on Creality printer with the Creality resin and will be curing it in the Creality UV washing station, why not use Creality Slicer? In the support section of the Creality website, go to Resin 3D printers, select the printer you want. For me this is Halot-One Plus 3D printer. And down under Manual and Firmware, you have option to download either Windows or Mac version of the Halot-Box. If you've previously encountered any 3D printer, you know the process. First you need to load up the file that you want to print. Then you have to, in the case of 3D printer, create supports, and this is maybe the biggest difference between the FDM and the resin printers. After that you slice it and then you export it. One of the advantages that if you go with the Halot-Box, you have also connection with the Creality Cloud service. So if you log in into your account, you can go to free models and browse the models that Creality has on their website. This model is included on the USB stick that arrives with the printer, and this model is already pre-sliced, meaning that you just insert the USB stick in the printer and you are good to go. Let's click on this one here. You can see any or if there is available any more information, and you can click on import the model. This will slowly download the model. When I say slowly, I really do mean slowly. The difference between the free and the subscription for cloud services that it throttles the speed. If you have a subscription, downloads should be much faster. But this time we are not going to download anything from cloud. Actually, I'm going to open the model that I have downloaded previously. This is the case for LilyGo Hydro board. As I said, I want to see and test how this printer performs not just with the fancy models, because we already know that it is better than the standard FDM printer for that. But I want to see how good it is for the practical printing. And these are the three files that I want to print today. But I'm going to position this one a little bit different. I'm afraid that these holes here may get clogged up. I know that positioning them like this may not be the best idea, but there is a reason why I'm doing it. You could print them flat on the print bed, but I want to show you how supports are generated and also later on show you why maybe printing them off of the bed itself can be better. And this is how everything should look after it is printed. We have here supports that will help us print this case here. It will make it a bit harder for the printer to print everything, but if supports are good enough, it should print okay. As I mentioned, you can print them flat on the bed surface, and you do not need for that any support, and it would also print perfectly. But I want to test something here. For example, here we have those small holes. The problem with those small holes is that if you do not wash it carefully, they can get clogged, and when you cure the resin, you may lose them. Also, the reason why I'm printing this one on support is because this is very small and brittle part. Sometimes the prints just stick too good to the print surface, and you may end up damaging this part here if it adheres too well to the print surface. Let's click on Slice. I'm going here with the standard settings. And we will need around 28 milliliters of resin, and the print time is 2 hours and 18 minutes. For example, we want to print more of these. If we go to Layout, clone this, slice it, you can see that we are using more of the resin, but the print time stays the same. This is the biggest advantage of the resin printer over the FDM printer. If, for example, you want to print multiple soldiers out of resin and it takes around 1 hour to finish one of them, even if you put 10 on the plate, it will still take it 1 hour. So no matter how full your print board is, the print time is the same, which is quite opposite if we compare it with the FDM printers. If you're satisfied on how the models will look after sliced, you have a couple of options. Local print will save it in a local file. Remote printing allows you to connect via Wi-Fi to your printer. And upload allows you to upload it to the cloud. Of course, you need to be logged in into your cloud account. One thing that I skipped that I did previously and I forgot to mention is this printer settings. Here you select what printer you are using. All of the Creality printers are of course on the list. Before we look at the printing process, cleaning process, curing process, prints and how good or bad they were, let's look at some of the main characteristics of this printer. This printer is 4K mono LCD printer. The build plate itself is 172 by 102 by 160. It's a really large build plate. And I did take advantage of it when I printed one of the models. Now let's look at that same model, how the process went. Let's look at this model here, and the link should be down in the video description. This is the largest model I printed, and it took around 11-12 hours for this print to finish. The details on it are perfect. The print itself printed during the night, and I did time it so that in the morning when I wake up, the print would be almost finished, so I took it off the printer and started trying to get it removed from the build plate. And that process, wow, the print really stuck there and it took a lot of effort to get it off. The next step in the process of finishing resin prints is of course cleaning. From that, I did remove it from the build plate, inserted it in the isopropyl alcohol and clean it 2 times 5 minutes on a quick cleaning setup in the cleaning and curing station from Creality. After the print was washed, I removed it, cleaned it with the paper towels, let it dry and then the curing process started. The disc, the mirror disc where you put your prints on in the curing station is pretty large one. I think I used 3 curing processes to do that because I also tilted the model so it can be cured from the inside too. I did later on when I was reviewing the footage I did and the photos see that maybe the washing part was not done properly. But here I was also having issues with the temperature. As I was cleaning it outside, the isopropyl alcohol was cold, around 10-12 degrees. And I think that was also one of the reasons why it didn't wash up properly this model or some other models. But look at the details here. I'm simply stunned. Everything can be seen on this cathedral. Every dot, every statue, every window, crevice or whatever is on the cathedral itself, it really looks fabulous. But that was not the first print I did. On the USB sticks you have 2 models. One of the models that is pre-cut or pre-sliced is this Kolek Sun Eater. Again, details. Wow! I printed it during the night, cleaned everything, removed supports, and here is how the final print looks. All the details are visible, and I did cut myself a couple of times removing the supports on all these needles or armor that this model has. What kind of a test print would it be without printing Mandalorian? So I went to the Cals 3D and downloaded this model. Once again, it printed awesome. I really do hope that my daughter will keep it and that she will also color it, because those models really deserve a lot of love. Everything on the armor is visible, everything looks awesome, all the details are here, but not just on Mandalorian, but also on Baby Yoda. I did print 2 models at the same time, the Mandalorian and this Star Wars Trooper. Once again, wow, I wish I knew how to paint or do those stuff, because I really would love to see that helmet pop up with the color. Once again, I hope my kid will do that for me. The support was really easy to remove, all the details are here, and it's a pretty heavy object. Next thing that I printed is this Rook. This model here is already prepared, as it has a drain, for the resin. I really wanted to see how well this model could be printed on a resin printer. There is a spiral staircase, but there is also one additional, very tiny spiral inside this Rook. And the details came out perfectly. Also, one thing that you can do and play with, which sometimes can ruin your FDM prints depending on the type of the material, the temperatures, etc. What you can do with the resin printers is stop them mid-print. Get them out, check the model out if everything is printed correctly, and then resume the print. I haven't seen any issues with that with any of my prints, and I did pause all the prints either to take photos or just to see how everything is turning out. Rook, well, Rook really did turn out awesome, as actually most of the prints did. But so far, all the prints that I printed have been standard resin prints. You see a ton and ton of people printing those same prints, and everything turns great because if the quality of the resin printer is okay and if the resin is of a good quality, it's really hard for everything to fail. But I wanted to test how far can I go with the printer. Can I do any articulated prints? And that's why I decided to go with this print in place, support free, articulated Millipede. Once again, it really turned out awesome. The print, while not cured, is a bit fragile, so you have to be careful when you are pulling it out from the build plate. I did damage like millimeter by millimeter, 1 or 2 feet from this Millipede, but the rest of the print really printed well, and my kid is looking forward to steal that one to have it as a toy on her desk. So, not just the standard models, but also articulated models. So far everything was at least a pair or even better than I was expecting. But what about doing cases for projects like this? I do have 6, 7, 8 Hygro boards, and for them I did print from PLA and later on from ABS cases. More or less, I'm successful both in PLA printing and the ABS printing, but sometimes ABS prints fail. They warp, for example, I didn't preheat the chamber enough, the material was wet, etc. And those prints later on subjected to me watering the plants, to sun, etc. I wanted to test how this printer can print cases for a project like this. And once again, it ended up perfect. There are some finish problems on this print, but that's my fault. The problem was the leftover resin I had. I didn't open a new bottle. This was already a bit older resin that was outside for a long time that could potentially already been exposed to a bit of UV, and it didn't wash correctly, and it had some artifacts on the print itself, on the outer shell. Inside was perfect. Everything, from the case itself, from the opening or holes for the temperature sensor and humidity sensor, down to the buttons that are used to control this device. The link to that case, of course, will also be in the video description. It's located inside the shield and this file here, prt001.rar. And the last print I did to test this part of the functionality of using resin printers to print your project boxes was this case here. It's a Creality DigUno case. I also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 of them, and all those that I have been printed with the PLA because they were printed a long time ago. You can print them in resin. And why would you want to print them in resin? Layer lines. You don't see it. The case is perfect. It looks like it was manufactured and cast or injector molded somewhere in the factory. So no matter if you are looking to print Star Wars, Marvel, whatever models, if you do Dungeons and Dragons, if you are into cosplay, whatever, or at the end if you want to do cases for the projects, this Creality Halot-One Plus has passed all the tests. Let's look at all the good stuff and the bad stuff for Halot-One Plus. The resolution of the printer, 4K mono. The build size, 172 by 102 by 160 millimeters, is a really large build volume. Support for Wi-Fi that can be used to update the printer, push the models, start and pause the prints is awesome. You can do it either from PC or do it via Creality Cloud app. The quality of the printer is really great, and I do believe that if you go for the Creality printer, you will be satisfied with how the prints end up. Remember that resin is also very important, so if you do get this printer, go with the quality resin. But let's also mention some not that good things. For example, ventilation. Although this printer does say it does have ventilation, unfortunately filtration in that vent is not that great. There is a lot of vapor and those are toxic fumes that you can feel in the air from this printer. Second is the noise of the vent. Of course, since there are toxic fumes, you will not be printing in your bedroom, but if you are in the same room, wearing a mask, with this printer, you will hear a lot of noise coming from the vent itself. Other things, such as that, they are done really nicely. You do get an extra foil if you need to replace the film on the vat. All the tools that you need for assembly, calibration, everything is included in the kit itself. But you will have to buy isopropyl alcohol for cleaning, gloves, mask, and more filters. Filters that are used to filter the resin when you are returning it back into the bottle. Only 2 of them are included in the box itself. Would I recommend it? Why not? This is a very good printer. The price can seem a bit steep, but I think that this printer is worth it. And also, with the purchase of this printer, you do get 6 months of the cloud services, premium cloud services, free of charge, which is an extra benefit. If you are considering going into resin printer, and this printer is something that you fancy, also consider some other things, such as a curing and washing station. Creality, as far as I know, has 2 models of them, this UV02, and there was a previous, which was a bit smaller model called UV01. And I would really like to take this opportunity once again to thank Creality for sending me this printer. I was hoping that it would be K1 printer, but yeah, resin printer was also something that I really wanted to play a long time with, and I simply couldn't make up my mind on what to get. Creality helped me with that one. But I also want to take this opportunity to thank all those wonderful people who are supporting me and who have become my YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. And also, let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, liked or subscribed to my channel, which is also a hint to watch, like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and buy something there. We don't call it merch store because we are adults. And I will be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.